Most people know the names of the 12 tribes, but few understand the ancient rivalries that decided their borders. Why did some tribes receive fertile plains while others were cast into the harsh mountains? Join us as we trace the journey from ancestral blessings to the actual physical maps of the biblical landscape. The story of Israel doesn't start with a government or a map. It starts with a family. To understand the 12 tribes, we have to look back at the book of Genesis, the book of beginnings, where the narrative of the patriarch Jacob and his 12 sons first takes root. These 12 sons weren't just brothers, they were the seeds of a future nation. Jacob, who was also given the name Israel, essentially became the father of a massive geopolitical structure that would define the landscape of the ancient Near East. But as Jacob reached the end of his life, he didn't just leave his children with a memory, he left them a blueprint. In the closing chapters of Genesis, we find what scholars often call the deathbed decrees. These were prophetic blessings and warnings that tied the character of each son to the future of their descendants. Jacob was looking past his children and seeing the physical terrain they would one day occupy. He was predicting how their individual choices and moral traits would translate into actual real estate. The problem is that many of us see these tribal lists as boring census data or disconnected ancient history. We read about the 12 sons of Jacob and then skip ahead to the maps in the back of our Bibles without realizing that the two are deeply linked. We miss the fact that the territory a tribe received wasn't random. It was the physical manifestation of a family's spiritual and moral history. The promise of this deep dive is simple. If you understand the characters of the 12 sons, you can finally understand the map of the Promised Land. This journey from family drama to national borders shows us that the Bible isn't just a collection of rules. It's a narrative of faith, failure, and ultimate hope. To understand the internal power dynamics of the nation, we have to look at the first major shift, the fall of the firstborn. Reuben was the oldest, the beginning of Jacob's strength, and the natural heir to the leadership of the family. But the Bible teaches that our choices have long-term consequences. While Reuben held the title of the firstborn, his character was described as unstable as water. Because of his past failures, Reuben lost his birthright. This created a massive power vacuum. If the firstborn wasn't going to lead, who would? This sets the stage for the rise of Judah. While Joseph was the slave who became the one who saves in Egypt, it was Judah who was prophesied to hold the scepter. This wasn't just a spiritual title. In the later mapping of the land, Judah received a vast and strategic portion of the territory, eventually becoming the heart of the southern kingdom. The character traits of the brothers didn't just decide who would be king, they decided who would live where. Contrast the fortunes of the different tribes based on these early decrees. Some tribes were cast into the rugged mountains, while others were given fertile plains. For example, the descendants of Joseph, through his sons Ephraim and Manasseh, received central, productive land that reflected Joseph's status as a savior within the family. The transition from oral prophecy to physical reality happened after the long journey through the wilderness. In the book of Numbers, we see a nation that struggled to trust God, resulting in 40 years of wandering. But once they crossed the Jordan River under the leadership of Joshua, the mapping began in earnest. Joshua was the leader tasked with the massive job of conquering the land and then parceling out territories to the 12 tribes. The last half of the book of Joshua is essentially a massive real estate guide. It details exactly how the land was divided up, turning Jacob's deathbed decrees into physical borders. This wasn't just about survival, it was about the ecological and economic fortunes of the people.
The writers of the Bible produced these texts over a period where living conditions, political, cultural, and ecological, varied enormously. The map reflected that diversity.
As the tribes settled, we see how their locations influenced their destinies. Some were coastal, others were landlocked in the mountains, and some, like Reuben, Gad, and half of Manasseh, stayed on the other side of the Jordan. This distribution created a complex web of internal power dynamics. The tribe of Levi, however, received a unique destiny. Instead of a physical territory, they were scattered among the other tribes to serve as priests. Their inheritance was spiritual rather than geographical. But possessing the land was never easy. The Book of Judges shows that having a territorial destiny didn't guarantee peace. Israel entered a cycle of turning away from God, falling captive to oppressive nations, and being rescued by leaders called judges. These struggles often played out along tribal lines, as certain territories were more vulnerable to invasion than others. Eventually, these tribal rivalries led to a fractured nation. After the prosperity of King Solomon, the kingdom split in two. You had the northern kingdom, often led by the powerful tribe of Ephraim, and the southern kingdom, centered on Judah. Both kingdoms eventually ignored the warnings of prophets like Amos, who preached against social injustice and the widening gap between the rich and the poor within these tribal lands. The insight here is profound. The map of Israel is a physical record of a spiritual journey. It shows that the core of who we are, the choices we make, and the character we build defines the legacy we leave for those who come after us. The mountains and valleys of the biblical landscape aren't just features of geography. They are the results of a family's history with God. When we understand the 12 tribes, we see that faith isn't just an abstract belief. It's something that moves us to act for justice and mercy in the physical world. The Bible uses these historical narratives to teach us about accountability and the nature of God's promises. It reminds us that even when life gets hard, there is a purpose in the struggle and a blueprint for our future. If this historical deep dive into the origins of the 12 tribes has sparked your interest, there are so many ways to keep exploring. You can use free tools from the Bible Project to watch animated overviews of these books and themes, or you can dive into the text itself using searchable online Bibles in over 150 versions to see how these borders are described in detail. Take a moment to reflect on your own territory, the legacy you are building today. Are you acting justly and loving mercy in the places you inhabit? Use these ancient stories as a motivation to speak out for the marginalized and to let your faith push you toward bold action in your own community. Don't just look at the map, understand the story behind it. If you want to see more content like this, make sure to check out the other resources in our library and join the conversation in the comments below.